There's a quiet kind of strength, not the loud, performative kind that needs applause, but the kind that chooses not to say everything, the kind that pauses before speaking, the kind that knows the power of holding back. We live in a world that encourages us to pour ourselves out, overshare, confess, post, speak now or be forgotten. But the truth is, not every story is meant for every ear. Not every emotion deserves a stage. And not every secret weakness waiting to be cured. Some things are sacred, and smart people know it. When you share everything, you give your power away. You hand the most intimate parts of your soul to people who haven't earned the right to hold them. And then you wonder why you feel drained, exposed, empty. But there's nothing noble about bleeding out in front of people who won't even offer a bandage. Privacy is not secrecy. It's not shame. It's self-respect. There is wisdom in keeping some pieces of you for yourself. There's beauty in the parts of your life that only you understand. And there's power, deep, unwavering power in the boundaries you build around your inner world. Boundaries aren't walls. They're doors with locks. You choose who comes in. You decide who gets to know your dreams, your pain, your joy. And that's not selfish, that's self-love. Because when you honor your boundaries, you teach the world how to honor you. Sometimes silence is louder than speech. Sometimes restraint is more powerful than reaction. And sometimes the strongest move you can make is to say nothing at all, to choose dignity over disclosure, to protect your peace like it's the most precious thing you own, because it is. So no, you don't need to explain yourself. You don't need to confess your wounds to be valid. You don't need to share your every truth to be seen. You are allowed to keep parts of yourself untouched, unshaken, and untold. Remember this, not everyone is meant to sit at the table of your soul. Some people are better left outside. Not because you're bitter, but because you're finally wise. Hold your head high. Walk with quiet courage. And know this, you are not more lovable for being more available. You are not more powerful for being more exposed. You are enough, even in your silence, especially in your boundaries. There's a sacred space inside each of us, a space where our hopes, memories, and private truths live, a space meant to be protected, not paraded. But in a world that rewards loudness and instant vulnerability, we've learned to confuse connection with exposure. We've been taught that being open means being loved and being private means being cold or distant. And so we overshare. Not because we don't care, but because we care too much. Because we're looking for someone, anyone, to say, I see you, I hear you, you're not alone. But here's what no one tells you: oversharing might win you attention, but it often costs you your peace. It can rob you of dignity, weaken your emotional boundaries, and leave you feeling more unseen than ever before. Let's get something clear. Vulnerability is not oversharing. Vulnerability is intentional, brave, and always boundaried. Oversharing is a desperate reach, a way to manage discomfort, seek validation, or try to control how others perceive us. And in doing so, we sacrifice our internal safety for the illusion of external comfort. The emotional cost of this trait is steep. Oversharing opens a door, not always to connection, but to judgment, criticism, and even manipulation. When you tell too much to people who haven't earned your trust, you put your raw, unfiltered truth into hands that may not know how to hold it. Or worse, into hands that don't care to. And when those hands drop it, when they misunderstand you, minimize you, or use your words against you, the pain cuts deeper than the original wound. That's what no one sees when they glorify openness without discernment. The silent shame spiral that follows, the nights you replay conversations in your head, wondering why you shared that story, why you let them in, why you gave so much of yourself so freely. The regret is not always immediate, but it always arrives like a quiet echo that whispers, I shouldn't have said that. We don't talk enough about how exhausting oversharing can be. Emotionally, it leaves you depleted because sharing isn't free. It requires energy, trust, and recovery. When you give those resources away indiscriminately, you end up burnt out and emotionally exposed without the grounding connection you were hoping to find. What many people call being real is often a cry for affirmation, not authenticity. And it's okay to admit that. It's okay to recognize that sometimes we speak from our wounds and not our wisdom. We want to be known, but we skip the part where we learn who is safe enough to know us. We confuse applause for acceptance. But just because someone listens doesn't mean they care. Just because someone nods doesn't mean they understand. Oversharing is often an unconscious way we try to bypass the intimacy of relationship. We try to fast-track closeness by handing over the deepest parts of ourselves. But true intimacy isn't built through confession, it's built through consistency. Trust takes time, and time reveals character. When we overshare too soon, we give intimacy to people who haven't proven themselves trustworthy, and we end up hurt, confused, and sometimes emotionally re-traumatized. And then comes the shame, the deep, aching shame that convinces you you're too much, that your truth is too messy, that your pain is too heavy, not because it is, but because it was handed to the wrong person. That shame becomes a cage. And inside that cage, we either become silent, afraid to speak again, or we speak louder, hoping someone will finally get it. Here's the thing: your story deserves reverence. Your truth deserves a safe space. And you, my friend, deserve emotional safety that doesn't make you guarded, it makes you wise. You are not obligated to tell your story to everyone who asks. You don't owe anyone your past just because they're curious. You don't have to explain your trauma, your growth, your failures, or your fears to be worthy of love or respect. The smartest people, the ones who are emotionally grounded, spiritually secure, and deeply self-aware, understand the cost of oversharing. They don't spill to prove their worth. They don't confess to seek permission to feel. They know that just because something happened to them doesn't mean it belongs to everyone else. They practice discretion not out of fear, but out of deep love for themselves. They know how to honor the line between vulnerability and emotional leakage. They choose the sacred over the sensational. They don't share to gain control. They speak when it's aligned, authentic, and safe. If you've overshared in the past, don't judge yourself. You were doing your best with the tools you had. You wanted to be seen, and that is a beautiful human need. But from this moment on, you can choose differently. You can ask yourself, is this person safe? Have they earned this part of me? Am I sharing to connect or to be rescued? Because here's the truth: you are not more lovable for being more available. You are not more valuable for being more exposed. You are allowed to take up space without giving away all your pieces. Guarding your story is not weakness, it's wisdom. And wisdom is power. So protect your emotional energy like it's gold, because it is. Learn to sit with your truth before you give it away. Learn to listen to your heart before you open your mouth. And remember, your soul is not a stage. Your pain is not a performance. Your healing is not content. Speak your truth when it's safe. Be vulnerable when it's sacred. And always, always honor your emotional well-being over the pressure to be real for others. Because in the end, the cost of oversharing is never worth the illusion of closeness. But the reward of self-respect, that's priceless.